So that's it for housekeeping. Without any further ado, I'd like to introduce Jesus Molina, who's going to talk on learn how to control every room at a luxury hotel remotely, the dangers of insecure home automation.
Well, thank you very much. Thank you for the introduction. And I want to welcome you to this session. I know it's 5 p.m., but it's going to be a very fun session. So it's going to be light and relaxing. You can drink, you can do whatever you want. And to start with, I want to ask you a question, and that's very important, and I want to answer it for yourself. If I were to tell you that I'm able to control every appliance in your hotel room, except the lock, so you're safe, I'm not going to steal your stuff, but I can control the TV, I can control the blinds, I can control everything in your room, will you move to another hotel tonight, or you will stay? Think about it. Because this talk is going to, well, at first, who I am. I'm a security consultant based in San Francisco. My full name and title, and this comes sponsored by my mom, because she wanted me to say my second last name, is Dr. Jesus Maria Molina Terriza. That sounds good. I'm Spanish. I'm from La Mancha, which is this region in the middle of Spain that you may know for Don Quixote. My webpage is jesusmaria.com. I will post some code there about this and how to actually do it yourself without having to code it. My Twitter handle is @verified and trust, and get me a good tequila at the bar, and I will explain more things that I did at the hotel, okay? But things here will be only like minor. All right, so what did I do? So I controlled 200 plus rooms at a 5-star hotel by abusing an insecure protocol that the hotel was using. So if you see movies, this is like Die Hard 3 have taken over Die Hard 1, right? You know, you can, because the hotel turned to be a skyscraper, very beautiful. I was a guest at the hotel. This was not an evaluation of me going with all prepared, and that was in China. So I was there trying to do that, knowing that I can end up somewhere very badly. I did not hack, I abused. And I was going to use a metaphor for this, but I prefer not to because it's a kind of awkward. Like, yeah. But what it was really awkward, it was the talk I had with the Starwood CIO. Because I have to say that Starwood has been very good. The hotel is part of the Starwood chain. And Starwood has been very good at understanding the problem. They put down the service, so now you cannot do this anymore. And they have taken steps to modify their policy, so this cannot be done in other hotels. However, the phone talk I had with him was really awkward because he asked me, he calls me, and he's like, so what happened in the hotel exactly? And by the way, this is my lawyer, and this is my lawyer too. So it was this kind of like tension there, of, okay, I'm scared of you and you're scared of me. But they don't sue me. This is a happy ending story, so everybody's happy. Except, I will tell you later. So this is the hotel. It's the St. Regis Shenzhen. It's a beautiful hotel in Shenzhen, which is the Silicon Valley of China. The hotel sits in the top 20 stories of the hotel, and as you see, has beautiful bathtubs and everything. And if you have never taken a dump in a bathroom with a floor-to-ceiling window in an 85th floor, I would suggest you do it because it feels interesting. You feel like some kind of weird god. But what was got my attention after my bathroom experience is that every room of this hotel has an iPad, and the iPad is able to control most features in the room. Meaning it can control the blinds, it can control the TV, you can switch channels with the iPad, it can control the temperature, sorry about that, it can control the outside lights too, so it can control many features in the room, also the music. So me as an inquisitive person, the first thing I did is like, okay, so could I control the room from my laptop, right? It seems fair. So what I did is in order to do this, I should see what is communicating the laptop to the light bulb, right? So the iPad is open to inspection and tampering. The iPad, as the guys have an iPad here, there has no security on it. You just slide it and start playing with it. So I slide it, check it out, and I saw the iPad was connected to the guest network. And if you have been in a hotel, the guest network, you have to pay to go to the internet, but you can check what others are doing in the guest network. You can be neighborly with them. So the guest network is open to inspection and tampering. So the only possibility that for me not to take over the hotel was that the automation protocol was secure. Well, it was not. So that's why I'm here. All right, so I checked what was communicating, and I said that I was UDP packets going to a single IP and port. At the beginning, I didn't know what it was, so I researched, and I found out that it was KNX IP. So KNX IP is IP encapsulation of KNX. So how many people here in the room knows what KNX is? Okay. Not many, not very many. But the thing is that KNX is very extended in Europe and in China. Actually, in China, it's the only home automation standard. So if you want to do something standardized for home automation in China, you have to use KNX. This protocol was created in the 1990s, and it's very simple to deploy. This thing that you see there is an actuator. So basically, it connects devices so you can switch them on and off using relays. With KNX IP, you're able to do that using IP. Fun facts about KNX is that it's an open standard, and with open I mean closed. When I saw it, okay, it's an open standard. I will go to the web and check, how is the standard so I can use it. But it costs like 1,000 euros to just download the standard. So an open standard that costs 1,000 euros to download, it seems like pretty close to me. It's as open as a VIP room in like Las Vegas club, right? It's open as long as you pay 1,000 euros for the bottles, right? Anyway, the only thing interesting about this is there were open source clients, possibly because KNX Association decided to give the standard to the universities. They built some open source clients, and with this, I was able to understand how the protocol worked. Another fun fact is there absolutely no security. And this is probably what you should take out of this talk, is there is this protocol that is deployed. Since 2006, there has been paper saying there is no security in KNX IP, let's fix this. And only in 2013, the KNX Association has released new version that supposedly has security. But I cannot read it because I don't have 1,000 euros to download that stuff. So I don't read if it's true. But it will take a while anyway for the standard to be deployed. So right now, KNX IP has no security. All right, so how this worked in a room. So the iPad was being sending information to an IP address. That's the KNX IP router, which takes the KNX IP information and sends it to the KNX network. You see, there is two addresses here. So this is the address for the light bulb, and this is the address for the TV. KNX addresses are formed by three numbers. The first number is the area number. The second number is the line number. The third number is the device number. As you see here, in every room, the two first numbers didn't change, and the third number changed. So that way you can know to what address to send the KNX information. And every room had a single IP. Okay, so let's go to another room, and let's see the patterns here, right? So you see here, this is the room, and what changed here? So the next room had the same, for the device, the same number, but for the line, it was correlative. And if this is room 777, and this is room 778, the IP also was kind of correlative. So you can guess easily what was the IP and the KNX address for the device. Oops. Okay. Well, it was not that easy. There is some things, because every room had different KNX, so I have to do some research there, and like come up with my thing. But at the end, I have a list of all the KNX addresses, of all the IP addresses matched to every room. All right, so I have all the KNX addresses for each device. I have every IP address for each room. Okay, so I need now to implement the protocol. And I did implement the protocol using Python. And the protocol goes like this. You send a connect request to the router. It sends a connect response saying like, okay, that's good, and gives you a number, which is your window number, I think it's called. Then you send a connection state request saying, hey, I know the window number. It says a connection state response saying, okay, yeah, that works. And after that, you can start sending whatever you want to the room. You can, and that will actually go to the light bulb. What this little thing called Chemi here is actually the other thing is interesting for you. So once this is done, it sends an ACK, saying like the light bulb is on, and it sends a tiny little ACK, which is basically you did it. Then you finish the session. That's it. As you see, there is no security, there is nothing. You can implement it yourself, using whatever. There's actually open source tools where you can actually implement this protocol. The most known is EABD. I will tell about that later. So the Chemi, as you see the payload, the envelope, the IP envelope is really, really simple. The only thing you have to take a look, it's the payload, which is this Chemi frame. And what's the Chemi frame? There is a lot of things you have seen. This is the same string of numbers. You have seen this, but decoded. The only thing interesting for our talk here is this, which is the KNX address and the action. The action depends on what device you are controlling. So if you're controlling a light bulb, for example, the action will be 80 for on, 80 for off, 81 for on. Other devices like a thermostat has a more complex payload, so because you have to tell exactly how much, but this is typified, and that's actually the only document that the KNX Association makes public. But that doesn't matter because what you can do is go through every action of the iPad and see what the payloads are. So that's really easy. You can create like another dictionary of payloads, so that's not a problem. And this, I'm going to remind you to do the evaluations. Okay, you have your emails, so yes. Just to let you know, okay? So at this point, you know that if I can control one light bulb, I can control everything because I just need to change the KNX address in my room. And as I know the IP address for each room, I can control every room of the hotel. So I'll show you a little video of me doing exactly that. All right, so let's see if that works. There is no sound because I sound like an idiot. I was very caffeinated, you know, and look at this corner here. See what happened there? Okay, so I didn't see that. And I do all this because this was a room that I have never seen in my life. I have coded before. I was able to light a bulb before, but I have never light a bulb in a room which I didn't know anything about. So that was my second room I was in. So the fact that I light this light bulb and I was super happy was because I actually just lighted these things. Sorry about that. Right. You should be happy I don't put sounds because I sound like, yes, yes, yes. It's like, that's what happens. In movies, when you see somebody hacking a skyscraper, they are super cool. But no, it looks like this, you know? It looks really like room. Just feeling, oh, it's a mess. Like, anyway. All right, so that's it for it. Sorry about the intersection. I have more videos of me like raising the blinds and the TVs, but are even worse than these ones. So So how do you collect all this information? Well, the tunneling request, you can code your own. That's what I did. Or you can use EABD, which is this daemon. But with EABD, the problem is that you cannot really rise every room of the hotel at the same time because it's a daemon and you have to tell the IP address you're connecting to. So if you want to raise 200 lines at the same time, which is what I wanted to do, you have to code your own so you can parallelize it. The KNX address for each device in the room, you press the iPad, start recording. I created a little program in Python that actually connected to Wireshark and started downloading all the actions and every address of that room. So I had to create a library. And then the IP address of KNX rooms, that's a little bit more tricky. And there is different ways to do that. You can map the whole network, but I was super, super scared that I was going to get found. Now, looking back, I know nobody would have cared because nobody was monitoring. But in then I was like, I don't want to do this. So what I did is I changed rooms and infer the pattern. So I will change in the rooms and like, hey, I don't like these rooms at all. You know, can I change my email room? I did like 4 times, but that's, and finally, I got the suite. And it's a duplex suite. It's an amazing room. It's like the best room I've been in my life. But that's a problem, and they said no iPad. because it's a different setting, I guess, and it's like, and so I had to call them and say, hey, I don't like this room at all. I don't like double floors, it's really narrow. And then the hotel manager came and was like, what's the problem with you? It's just like, I want a corner room. And anyway, so how do I know it works? Because it's like, well, you're doing all this bullshit, Jesus, so how did you do it? Well, there's a fun fact, that is that you can control from the iPad your do not disturb light which sits outside the room. And I can control that rooms. So I created this little heartbeat program which, you know, make the outside lights heartbeat. So I will go around and like They put like 20 seconds delay, and go around. I would see like every room heartbeating. These donuts are like, it goes from like, red to a blue, so you can see that. It's pretty nice. Well, the question I to ask is like, were the logs connected to this? How many things were connected to this? I talked with the CIO of Starboot, and he told me that only the devices that were in the iPad were connected. But still, I tried. I have all these like addresses, which everything was more or less correlative in the deployment. But there were some addresses which I didn't know. It was like all these addresses that jumped from one bob to another, and there were like 5 addresses in the middle that. So I started like sending stuff to them, sending requests to see if like I hit something. And looking around, like, okay, let's see what happened. And at some point, they knock at my door, right? And I was super scared. I was like, well, already, okay, take me in. I'm sorry, it was me. I opened the door, and there's this girl saying, laundry? Laundry? So I guess what happened is I hit the laundry room key of the thing. But that's my guess. I didn't know. And I don't try anymore because I got really, really scared. I seriously was. So I was like, no, nothing more of this. That's it. So what does it mean, right? And by the way, I know the guy that did this video, the Yosemite Bear. I was in Yosemite, and I met him. He's a really cool guy. For all potheads here. Anyway, what this means for hotels, for hotels, they have to update the security policies accordingly because they're putting new technology in these rooms, like the iPad automation or smart TVs or other things, and they have security policies. Starboot has like very strict security policies, but they do not touch the new things that are in the rooms. So this can be deployed, as you know, like Starboot and Hilton are franchises. So the hotels actually have to abide to security policies from Starboot, except the ones that doesn't appear in the policy. And the home automation is one of the things that didn't exist before. And now Starboot is reviewing this, and maybe they will add it to the security policy. But hotels have to account for this. And then also, the protocols they use are usually closed, and nobody knows about them, like the key cards and stuff. So I think in the future, hotels will be a little bit more open about this. For the Internet of Things, we're playing a little bit of a very dangerous guerrilla war here, with everybody deploying whatever we want, the way we want it, and not understanding the protocols. And at the end, we don't really know what we're doing. Most protocols are closed and with no security. And this is a problem. Z-Way is a closed protocol, and most protocols rely on external security, and the people deploying that, they don't really know what's going on. And the other thing is, like, we need to have extra care when deploying of these protocols in shared spaces. I say that because if you deploy this in an airport, for example, it's a problem. And see that I see airport, and there's a reason for this, right? Because what's the worst thing that could happen, right? I have been asked this question all the time. So what's the problem with this, Well, Jesus, like, what's the worst thing that could happen? Like a guy, like, switches a light bulb? That doesn't harm, doesn't steal anything from me. So obviously for pranksters, that's great, one of my thoughts was to modify one iPad in the hotel and put a little sign there, and that will be the one iPad, Whenever somebody goes to that room, everything that he does in that room is replicated in every room of the hotel. So the guy switches the TV, and every TV switches on. And we'll have a little sign, like the Lord of the Rings signs in the back, It's like, oh, that's the one iPad. Also, I could have, there's myself like Magneto with a helmet, and go there and say a very big, saying like, oh, every blind rise, or like die humanity or something, right? I turn my things up, and every blind will rise, and every TV will start flickering, and the chaos will happen. And then, like, that's what the worst thing that could happen for me in that moment is that, hey, the worst thing that could happen is that somebody takes control of every room and, like, creates chaos. For hacktivism, for all that stuff. Well, let's go back to the question I asked you. And if I were to tell you somebody is able to control every appliance in your hotel room, will you move to another hotel tonight? I don't know what you guys have responded, but most people will say no. Because I don't think, if they are going to steal my stuff, what's the problem with this? There's no problem. Fixing my TV, who wants to do this? Well, this is the problem. The problem is that we don't really care about this. And this is happening, and more physical devices are bridging the gap between digital and physical, and we don't care about this. We don't care people like me going to a hotel and switching TVs up, because it's not a problem. But remember what happened with privacy, that we said, like, what will happen if I reveal something? And then suddenly we have almost no privacy anymore. What will happen when the day when the government comes and tells you, hey, your TV is connected to the internet, I want controller for the TV, so whenever the president talks, I want you to listen to him. We didn't care before about me taking control of every room of that hotel. You didn't care about somebody switching a light bulb. What's the worst that can happen? The day the government comes and tells you, hey, I want to switch on your TV remotely, you will say, well, I don't care. That's the worst thing that can happen, right? And then we'll hear like 2084, which is my expected date for this. But anyway, with this like very bad outlook for the future, that hopefully, please think about this, because this is important. Security on this Internet of Things is really important. You can like give me questions if there is some time. I don't know if there is any time. And you can send me emails to security@noamiames.com or put me in Twitter, Verified and Trust. And thank you very much for being here.